Hello guys, once again welcome to Farming in Africa, and today I'm going to talk to you once again about the important things every livestock farmer needs to know to be successful. And without wasting much time, I'm going right into it. Number one is your breed, your genetic. Without the right genetic, you are not going to get the best out of your investment. Number two is nutrition. Number three is health. Number four is management, and number five is your infrastructures. These are the 5 pillars that we live by here in Farming in Africa. And today I want us to dive into number 2, which is nutrition. And I'm not going to be the one doing the talking. I'm bringing an expert in who is going to show us farmers what do we need in order to succeed in the side of nutrition. So stay tuned if you want to learn more about livestock nutrition. Welcome back guys, and I'm glad you stick around. As I said, today we're going to be talking about the 5 pillars. We're going to pick one of the 5 pillars that we go by here in Farming in Africa in order for us to succeed in the livestock industry. And as I said, I'm not going to be the one doing majority of the talking. I have an expert here all the way from South Africa, from a very reputable company that we have worked with, that have actually not just worked with, but save us from losing our investment. And as you guys know, we don't want to keep the information to ourselves. We want to share with you guys and be able to learn from him as well, the same way we here in Farming in Africa have learned from him. So he's traveled all the way from South Africa to come here to Sementia Farm. And I want to introduce you to John. John, how are you doing, man?
Very well.
Great. Welcome to Ghana and to Sementia Farm.
Thank you.
Today is day number 2, I'm guessing.
2 on farm, yeah.
2 on farm.
I had a bit of time on the weekend to adjust to the climate.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Local beers, which are to my liking. So,
That's great.
So I'm well settled.
That's great. So viewers, I met John and True Alltech when I was having a difficult issue at my farm, where my animals were literally dying, right, from issues with their gut. And right there, they came into my aid and saved us. And since then, they've been a close partner to us and a partner that we're looking forward, not just keeping to ourselves, but how do we replicate the knowledge they have, the products they have across the continent and to every single farmer. Because if you're a livestock farmer, then I know that this company and this gentleman here's knowledge could be a great impact. And therefore, I'm so excited for you to be here, John, and to understand the culture. And I think one thing you said to me is, I don't want to do a business in a country that I've never visited, that I don't understand. And that is why you've made this trip. So I think that tells us, the kind of company that we're dealing with, or we here in Farming in Africa is associating ourselves with. So I want to go straight to the point. Livestock farming is done very differently from the west to the south. We have small scales. We're doing mini goats, small, 5, 10 maximum, probably few have more. We do random grazing. How does that affect our nutrition in this livestock, whether it be goat, cattle, whatever it is?
So with random grazing, obviously it's random, so you don't know what you're getting. Quite often the animals will do quite a good job of selecting good feed or good fodder that, they can often cover their deficiencies by browsing and being around. However, that also exposes them obviously to risks of plastics and other things that they wouldn't encounter naturally. But it's not giving them necessarily everything they need. So as I'd mentioned earlier, different regions will be deficient in different nutrients. And if they're grazing in one region, they're going to be deficient in certain nutrients. So it is important to do supplemental feeding. Now, most of your viewers will know about lick blocks or salt licks. These are aimed at addressing those kinds of deficiencies. A salt lick, it helps. It gives a lot of electrolytes, and I think that is one of the things, especially in this heat, that animals will have a higher requirement for. But they're also supposed to address trace minerals. I'm not convinced necessarily that all of the minerals I've seen available on the market here will be helping too much. And again, they're not terrible. I'm not trying to badmouth anybody. I'm just suggesting that there's a better way of doing it. And that's something that I'm particularly interested in doing up here. And part of the journey with you guys is we want to try out these things and we want to see how they work.
Awesome.
And I know they're going to work.
Yeah.
It's just a matter to what extent.
Great. And when John says that, some of the minerals we have here is probably not going to be working so well, he's not just saying that because he's here. We've been through the shops, guy. We took a whole day where we went through all the shops, majority of them in Ghana, tried to see what are the packs that are available that farmers are buying so that we can understand. He probably can understand because he's the expert. He knows, and he will pick a pack and will tell me, oh, this doesn't have that. Okay, if you're giving this to a goat, how come he doesn't have this? How come it's missing this, right? But you made mention that certain areas might be deficient in certain minerals. So yes, random grazing is good. The goat might be good at picking certain things that it needs to grow. But what happens when your area is deficient in copper, in selenium, or in any of the other minerals? Then you're going to start having issues. What are some of the issues that malnutrition can have on livestock?
It's absolutely everything. So it's not often that you can pinpoint specific things. I mean, I'm not sure if it's something that affects goats as much, but we know with cattle you can get white muscle disease. That's one selenium deficiency, specific disease. Yeah. And we know, for instance, if there's a zinc deficiency, you might have problems with the horns or the hooves or the skin in general. Yeah, so there are some associated diseases that we know can be a result of a deficiency. However, and growth as well. But what trace minerals do is they're a vital part of all of the enzyme systems, and they help with every metabolic path that the animal has inside it. So if you have a deficiency, you're just going to have suboptimal metabolism. You're not going to be as efficient. You're not going to have the hormones that you would naturally produce. So everything is affected by it. That's why we say fertility and immunity, which are highly regulated metabolic pathways, those are things that you can measure quite quickly when there's a deficiency. Obviously out here with very extensive type systems, people aren't necessarily measuring, how many twins do I get a year? What is my fertility rate? Exactly. They're not well documented, but it will be pretty easy to pick up if these things improve, you'll notice you're getting more animals. Exactly. And you'll think, where's this coming from? And I'm not saying, it's not like you're going to put out minerals and it's going to change the world, but it's an important part. You won't get there if that is deficient. Obviously then also we look at the energy, the protein, just the total feed intake of the animals. These are very important things. And again, I mean, around us there's a lot of forage. But, are they getting everything they need here? No. So when they go back into their houses, you've got pellets for them, you've got some hay for them just in case they need more roughage. And in there you've got good minerals and things that, again, these things are just topping up, and some good energy that's topping up what the animals aren't getting outside here.
Sweet. So you talk about forage, just like you guys know with the cementia grass, and that's what we are standing in. You can see how grown they are. These, we planted them just 90 days. And now look at the size of them. They're grazing on nicely. But John said this is not enough. Yes, the forage will give them some sort of vitamin, some sort of protein and all that, but it's not enough. They need other minerals. And that is why, John, we've started producing the pellet feed. So the pellet feed, we're trying to put together some of the raw materials and other trace minerals. But this is where John's company, Alltech, comes in. John, do you want to tell people maybe some progress we've made between Farming in Africa and Alltech in terms of what we've started doing?
Well, it's never enough. I always want to be doing more, but you guys have big plans too. So the initial plan that we have is we're looking at making a block that can be fed here based for Ghana's needs. So we're looking at doing mineral analysis of forages and regions, and to say, okay, well, maybe we realize that, there is no manganese deficiency across all our tests. Then we can tailor make a block and say, we don't need to waste money on that. Maybe we need more zinc and cobalt. We know they need selenium in there. And we can tailor make things that you guys can have here to help get to the market where, fill those deficiencies.
Before you jump to the next one, let me explain this once again in case you didn't get it. I'm going to speak the Ghanaian English so that you get it. So we all know salt lick, that solid block lick that we mostly hang either in our cattle pen or our goat pen, and they go and lick. We all know that has minerals, and that's why we are supplementing it. But those blocks are coming from China and Europe and places where we don't even know the ingredient. And we are even feeding to our cattle without knowing what they are deficient in. what John is saying is that through Alltech, we're going to start analyzing. So just like he's been here, take some of our nutrients and what the things we have here, the raw materials, and see what we are missing so that they can prepare that mineral lick for us. So if you're hanging your mineral lick in your goat pen, in your pig pen, in your cattle pen, then you know that you are actually supplementing. Not just saying it's a supplement, but you're literally supplementing it intentionally because you know that you can't find selenium here, you can't find potassium here, and that is why you're giving this. John, am I correct?
That sums it up pretty nicely.
Awesome. So let's go to the second thing that Alltech farming in Africa are trying to do, are going to do, whatever the legal terms are. But let's talk about the pellet feed. You guys know that we've started producing pellet feed here, and the pellet feed is basically a way of supplementing it again with minerals, especially if you don't have a big land and enough forage like we have. Your goat still needs to eat. They need to have adequate feed. So if you don't have enough grass for them and your goats are in there not feeding, then the pellet feed becomes an option. But then it is your responsibility to make sure that they have all the nutrients, because at this time they are not walking around picking what they need. And that is when the pellet feed comes in. So John, tell us a little bit about what you're doing to support and make sure that our pellet feed is really up to the standard. You are the expert. I am here with a good heart and a passion for farming. Tell us what we're doing.
So apart from, as we spoke about the lick blocks as a way of supplementing minerals, when you do a pelletized feed, we also provide a premix, again, which has got the same organic trace minerals in it, the same selenium yeast in it, and then other nutritional things that help with the gut health of the animal and the rumen health. And these are all natural things that help to make the animal not only digest its feed more efficiently, but in turn make the animal healthier. So yes, as I said, we've got the premix that we're using on the goats. We've got premixes for cattle, premixes for pigs and chickens as well. So for the poultry side, we're bringing something for the layers, for the broilers. There's plenty of things we've got that go in feed. I mean, that is pretty much the foundation of Alltech as a company, was minerals and probiotics and gut health modulators that go into feed. But we've obviously expanded well beyond that. And yes, at the moment, I think that would be some of the sort of the more commercial producers, guys feeding pelletized feeds or bought compound feed. You know, we do have premixes and fractions of premixes, other additives that go into that. Some of the main things that have been around here would be like the mycotoxin binder micros or these products that we know, again, with this climate, mold is almost impossible to prevent. You know, one can use acidifiers to help reduce the mold growth. One can use mycotoxin binders to get it out of the animal when it's being consumed. We have electrolyte supplements, which I'm realizing more and more is probably one of the key things we need to look at.
Exactly, as soon as possible.
There's a lot of things, but you know, Alltech makes hundreds of products, and Alltech is in crop science, and there's a lot of things we can do, but we can't do everything all at once. And maybe not everything we do is necessary here. And as we said, for me coming here, my trip is to see what it's like and what are the key places we can start. And that's where our relationship is what are the key things we need to add into the system that isn't there that will make it a better system and will help with animal production.
I think this is amazing, John, and I'm so happy that I found Alltech and Alltech found us, because guys, as you know, our reputation is something we really care about, and therefore working with a company like Alltech, not just by hearing John talk, but also the fact that I have tested Alltech and it has saved me. And John, I'm happy to announce to you guys, we've been working behind the scene for how many months now? I mean, for like since last year, right? And finally, you know, I have received a premix from Alltech, which you're gonna start adding to our pellet feed, right? And then be able to test it right here in our farm and see the progress, right? I was so happy today when I came, and that's why I was spending so much time with the goats, because I could see their skin color, I could see how well they are eating, like I could see the babies, how fast they are growing. I was like, this is amazing. And now my journey doesn't end there. My next thought is, how do I get this product into the woman in Tamale, the woman in west of Ghana who has 3 goats and his goats are grazing but lacking deficiency and therefore cannot give birth. Most of you will send me pictures of your goats and you know that this is a nutrition problem. And but you don't have access to it. Through Alltech and with Farming in Africa, this partnership is really going to create a lot that we can use to solve our nutrition problem. We're not going to end there. We are on this mission, guys, to revolutionize the livestock industry in Africa. This is nutrition. We'll bring you health. We'll bring you the management. We'll bring you the genetic. We're already bringing you the genetic, and we'll bring you the infrastructure style as well. Thank you, John, so much for being here with us. I hope your trip is fruitful. And as you're leaving us, I know we're going to continue talking. And if you're watching me from Alltech as well, we are excited to work with you guys. So whatever John says, you guys need to give him the stamp so that he can come back here as soon as possible. We have work to do, guys. There are farmers here who are dependent on us for their business, for their livelihood. And I think that is the role we're going to play in the lives of these guys. Yes, you are watching me. You can probably buy a pack and something and cook something in your house. But what about that woman? What about that man who doesn't even have access to technology? We need to take this innovation to them so that together we can all solve the insecurity in food and we can feed our continent together. You have anything to say, John?
No, I'm just really excited. As I said, this is your initiatives, your program, what you're bringing to the table. I think it's something that I'm really excited to join into and hold hands and walk a journey with you guys, because I see this as a meaningful way to help with food security.
Yeah, let's do that. We're counting on you as well. Write in the comment below, let us know. Go visit Alltech. If you have any question, reach out to us on our WhatsApp number. We're here to help and we want to go on that journey with you. We'll see you in the next video.